Knoebels Amusement Resort in Ellisburg, Pennsylvania is known for a lot of things, but one of my favorite parts about the place are their amazing operations, especially on their two wooden roller coasters, Phoenix and Twister. On most of my visits to Knoebels, the park will only run one train on both wooden attractions. But even so, the park will load trains so quickly that operations are faster than what most parks would do with two trains. Well, every now and then, I get to witness two train operations, and for those of you who follow the channel, you know that I love good operations. Well, I recently visited the park on my birthday, and Knoebels gave me one of the best birthday presents possible by running two trains on both Phoenix and Twister all day. Watching both rides run two trains is honestly mesmerizing. The crews load and dispatch trains so quickly that it's almost like both trains are constantly in motion. In this video, I'm going to show you just how fast the operations are at both Phoenix and Twister, and then hit you guys with some nerdy statistics like hourly capacity and the amount of money Knoebels could be making each hour by operating both attractions in such a manner. Before we get started, I'd just like to explain the importance of good operations to those who may not be familiar. It's crucial that amusement parks operate their attractions in a safe and efficient manner. This means making sure that all riders are properly secured into the ride vehicles, and doing so in a way that minimizes the amount of time it takes to unload and load ride vehicles. This allows for more vehicles to be dispatched each hour, allowing for more guests to ride an attraction every hour. This makes the line of guests waiting to ride move faster, which will help to shorten the line and help allow guests to experience more attractions during each visit to the park. All in all, good operations help lead to a much better experience at a park. Let's start with Twister, the park's second major wooden roller coaster that opened in 1999. I'm going to record the time between trains and find an average dispatch time. Because of the angle I had to record from, we will begin the timer once the train passes this location here, at the top of the second lift hill right past the second lift motor. We will then record a lap time as the following trains pass this same location. Alright, the timer has started. Let's see how the ride crew does. I will speed up the video whenever we can't see the train on the track. The next train is dispatched right at the proper dispatch interval, when the train on the track is rounding the bottom of the first lap of the helix. We now have two trains completely in motion. The train traveling the circuit won't park in the station for about 40 seconds. In fact, the second train will clear the first lift hill before the other train even parks in the station. You'll see here that the first train is now just rolling into the station. The second train passes our marker location 92.33 seconds after the first, meaning a train was dispatched from the station 92.33 seconds after the one prior. Let's see how the crew does next. Once again, the next train dispatches right when it's supposed to, as the train on the track rounds the bottom of the first lap of the helix. Yet again, we have two trains completely in motion, and the train on the circuit will not park in the station for about 40 seconds. The third train passes our marker location 92.1 seconds after the second train, meaning this train dispatched 92.1 seconds after the one prior. These two dispatches are amazing, and I believe it's the fastest the ride is capable of moving at. Even better, the ride crew basically hits this interval all day. I witnessed cycle after cycle where the crew loaded each train so quickly that they had to wait 5 to 10 seconds until they could dispatch. Now these two cycle times average to a dispatch every 92.22 seconds. With 3,600 seconds in an hour, divide 3,600 seconds by 92.22 seconds, and we get 39 dispatches per hour. With each train holding 24 riders, multiply 39 dispatches by 24 riders, and we get a potential capacity of 936 riders per hour, which is extremely impressive for a wooden roller coaster of Twister's length running two 24-passenger trains. And just for fun, let's calculate how much money Knoebels could potentially be earning every hour by running Twister like this. Knoebels has a default method where riders pay per attraction rather than paying a flat fee to enter the park. Some days, they offer the ability for a one-time payment that allows riders to ride all day, but let's assume that riders are using the individual ride tickets. Twister costs $3.50 US to ride. So with 936 riders per hour, this means Knoebels could potentially gain $3,276 US every hour before accounting for operating costs. To add to this, Knoebels was open for 8 hours the day I attended. If Twister were to operate in this manner for all 8 hours straight, that would mean 7,488 people could theoretically ride Twister that day, and Knoebels could potentially earn $26,208 US from pay-per-ride tickets. Alright, let's take a look at Phoenix. Luckily, with the way the ride is set up, I was able to film from the exit ramp and capture the station. We'll start the timer once the first train dispatches from the station. Compared to Twister, Phoenix also operates with two 24-passenger trains, except Phoenix only has one lift hill, and is a shorter ride in both track length and duration. We can see the ride's second train approaching the station, and like Twister, it also doesn't park in the station until about 40 seconds after the train prior dispatch because of how quick the dispatches are. Phoenix features traditional buzzbar restraints that are very easy to check, especially since each buzzbar secures two riders in place, and each buzzbar only needs to be checked once. Whereas Twister features individual restraints for each rider, meaning there are double the restraint checks required per dispatch. The next train can dispatch once the train on the course is in the double down adjacent to the lift hill. The crew beats the interval by quite a good margin, allowing enough time for an attendant to cross the track to inform the operator of an ADA load. The next train dispatches 84.83 seconds after the first, even more impressive than Twister. With the dispatch taking place so early, the train on the track is still traveling the circuit and only now approaching the final brake run. The next load cycle is interesting as the crew actually board a family from the exit ramp, and even so, they still load the train and have it ready to go several seconds before the dispatch interval. The next train is dispatched from the station 84.89 seconds after the train prior. The next dispatch, however, is even more impressive and leaves the station 82 seconds after the train prior. Overall, this gives us an average dispatch interval of 83.91 seconds. With 3,600 seconds in an hour, dividing 3,600 by 83.91 gives us roughly 42 trains every hour. With each train holding 24 riders, multiply 24 riders by 42 trains, and we get an hourly capacity of 1,008 riders per hour, which is even more impressive than Twister's hourly capacity. With the ride costing $3.50 US a ride, Knoebels could potentially earn $3,528 US per hour if all guests were to use the pay-per-ride tickets. To add to this, with the park's 8-hour operating day when I visited, Phoenix could potentially give out 8,064 rides that day and earn the park up to $28,224 US. Overall, the operations of these two roller coasters are fantastic, and the crews don't rely on a large amount of staff members to make this happen either. Both Twister and Phoenix had a single operator stationed at controls and two attendants checking restraints. What really helps are the lack of unnecessary rules that Knoebels ride ops need to follow, and also the lack of seatbelts on both wooden coasters, which make restraint checks very quick. Attendants can give an all clear from anywhere they are standing on the platform, and do not have to move to a designated safety zone to allow the trains to dispatch. This means that as soon as attendants are done checking the train, they can give an all clear from wherever they finish, and they do not have to waste time moving to a safety zone. At Phoenix, it is not required that the attendants check certain rows. One simply starts at the back of the train and the other at the front. If one falls behind while checking restraints, the other attendant continues to check until the two attendants meet and have checked the entire train. Compare this to, say, Millennium Force at Cedar Point, where the attendants checking the back 5 cars of the train must check these 5 cars, and the front attendants must check the front 4 cars. If the attendants checking the rear of the train fall behind, they must still check all their cars, even if the front attendants have already checked their cars. And I'm not knocking this policy, it just makes operations at Phoenix faster. And these amazing operations at Knoebels all happen without the use of lockers either. Many large parks force guests to place belongings such as bags and purses in a locker before boarding an attraction, so that time isn't wasted placing items on the side of the platform. Well, things flow very smoothly at Knoebels, and almost too smoothly. Guests just seem to know what they're doing when they go to Knoebels, and don't really hold up operations often at all. The only hiccup I'll notice every now and then is if a rider struggles to fit into an attraction, or a guest walks onto the ride platform before the train is properly stopped in the home position. It's honestly bizarre just how well everything seems to flow at Knoebels. This, on top of the other million reasons to love Knoebels, is why it's one of my all-time favorite amusement parks. Now that's gonna do it for this one, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a video where I detail how both attractions could probably run 3 trains without a hitch. Thanks for watching everyone, and be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.